we have the finals of the Game Cafe Midseason Showdown here in Independence, Missouri. And we have it again versus Drew Nowak versus Ethan Simpson. So both of these players played in Swiss. Ethan notably just got his World's Invite thanks to his top cut at this event. And Drew is looking to get as much CP as he can. Because of the double header midseason that we're hosting this weekend, he's looking to grab as much CP as possible and potentially have the chance of getting his World's Invite before the North American International Championships. So we'll see if he can pull that off, but he's got to take a win over Ethan Simpson first today.
Yeah, I said a lot in Swiss that I was really looking forward to watching Drew again. I really like the team he's running, and it's just like the Rhyperior and Slowbro, two Pokemon that you don't see very often. He does only have one round resist, but
Yes, this is true, and he doesn't even bring his Salamence either. Like I think he's brought it once on stream. And I think he said he hasn't brought it any other time today.
Competing with Ethan's triple flying, which a lot of ground resists. So.
Yeah. See, Ethan's got the premier ground resist team, but we'll see how it ends up impacting the match. And so, yeah, we kind of skipped out on team preview, but both of these players are very good. I'd say, arguably, Ethan is ranked second in our region, and Drew is technically out of region. But nevertheless, he occasionally comes out to these events, and he's a fantastic player. And so now we get to see an epic battle between these two players. We see a Braviary and Tapu Fini lead come out from Ethan as the Rhyperior, and Tapu Koko is the lead for Drew. So what do you think about this position here, Edu?
Well, I think it's very interesting because we never saw this lead coming from Ethan in Swiss, especially because that lightning rod on Rhyperior is actually being quite troublesome for the Tapu Koko on the same side, since he kinda is blocking the electric attacks from Koko. So the fact that he's Assault Vest helps a lot, but he's definitely not a very good position for Drew, since he's very vulnerable to Muddy Waters or Skulls from the Tapu Fini.
I think this may be impactful. If Drew is aware of Ethan's full set on the Tapu Fini, it doesn't actually have a water move. It runs Moonblast, Icy Wind, Haze, and Nature's Madness. So a switch out here for Landorus, a good Pokemon against the Tapu Koko and Rhyperior, as the Braviary goes for a Protect, not wanting to take whatever was coming that way. Tapu Koko opts for the Sky Drop into Landorus, so this Tapu Koko will be forced to drop the Landorus on the following turn, but because Landorus is a Choice Scarf on this team, it will also not be able to act. The Rhyperior goes for a Rock Slide and deals no damage because it can't hit anything.
Well, Skydrop is an amazing move, but it can also backfire very easily, and this is the reason why. Skydrop, is really good. It can be really safe if we're 100% sure of our opponent's play. If we are expecting a switch, we can make ourselves very vulnerable to an attack, since now the Landorus is free to attack as long as it's not Choice Scarf and catch them off guard, since he can't really protect the Tapu Koko, as we do see that the Landorus was in fact Choice Scarf because it was unable to move, and the Rhyperior goes for the Z move.
Yep, this Z move, probably based off of Rock Record though. We haven't actually seen the move, so it could be based off of Stone Edge or some other attack. But this is importantly going into Kartana. Kartana, despite not being a bulky Pokemon, will still take this hit quite well. It did not nearly enough damage to be pressured by Tapu Koko on the following turn. So this Kartana is in prime position, especially in combination with the Landorus that Ethan has to maybe go for a ground attack and a Leaf Blade. He can switch out the Kartana into his Braviary, go for a regular old Earthquake. I imagine that Drew is not going to just give up his Pokemon so easily to an Earthquake, but it is a play that he has to respect.
Yeah, Ethan seems to be adapting very well to the strategy that he struggled with in Swiss. The Tapu Koko and the Rhyperior seem to be very troublesome as long as the Kartana was kept in check by the Incineroar. So, now that he has a Landorus, he's pressuring both very well with Intimidate and, just having moves available for both of those Pokemon.
Speaking of the ground resist, we see Salamence switch in, applying an Intimidate on the Landorus and Kartana, which is important. but the Landorus wisely opts to U-turn, realizing that it's probably not going to actually get to deal a significant amount of damage, and returns back to Ethan, and replacement, the Tapu Fini is sent out. A Leaf Blade comes out, rather, and goes into Rhyperior, and I believe that's a critical hit because that was -1. It was not a critical hit, so the Kartana just knocks out the Rhyperior straight up. The attack boost on Kartana is helpful to offset the Intimidate, and I'm personally really surprised that Leaf Blade was able to knock out the Rhyperior at -1.
Well, if it was solid rock, I would definitely be very surprised, but since it's not, it does make a huge difference. It's still 4 times super effective, and it's still a Kartana, which is one of the strongest Pokemon in the whole game. It's even stronger than Primal Groudon. So it's not like I didn't find it too surprising, given that it's not solid rock. But it's still a Rhyperior, still very high defense. So it's a very key knockout for Ethan to get there. Since it's always annoying.
The Kartana is withdrawn by Ethan. In replacement, the Landorus is sent out. This will apply an Intimidate to both Salamence and Kartana, which is important. The Kartana's Leaf Blade is unlikely to knock out the Tapu Fini at -1, unless all of the Kartana have been trained especially strong. I believe the potential of Balloon Doom is one option, but we see the Salamence opt for a Double Edge, hitting into the Tapu Fini, probably going to set up for a follow-up Leaf Blade knockout. We do see that Leaf Blade. A Leaf Blade coming into Tapu Fini is able to knock it out. This Tapu Fini is fairly fast. It was timid at the Madison Regional, so that combination attack, I am not surprised that one took it out. And it seems the momentum has switched again, now with Drew's Kartana being the one to take an important knockout, the Tapu Fini being one of Ethan's strongest answers against Salamence.
Older beasts are Pokemon that can very easily swing momentum on from one side to another very easily, thanks to the Beast Boost ability. It's just in one moment it was -1, now it's ready to pick up another KO. So, going to this turn, we see the Rock Slide.
Yeah, we see a Rock Slide come out. Does not flinch to Salamence, who in turn gets a critical hit on the Braviary. That's just about the worst thing that you could hope for Ethan. And Sacred Sword, again, the Kartana does not flinch. It was probable that the combination of Double Edge and Sacred Sword would knock out the Braviary anyway. Maybe. I'm not especially familiar with Braviary damage calcs, but nevertheless, the Sacred Sword does some damage to Landorus, but not too much. Ethan's Kartana is replaced as the final Pokemon. Since Salamence has Mega Evolved, it will be unable to launch a further Intimidate. But we have not seen Drew's last Pokemon, correct? So it could be, for example, Incineroar.
Yeah, exactly. It seems that it's very interesting that Ethan hasn't brought his Charizard yet to the match. And interestingly enough, he's been struggling a lot with Kartana, though it may change this time, as we do see the Rock Slide finishing off the Salamence.
Yeah, Rock Slide knocking out the Salamence there easily. The Kartana on Drew's end outspeeding the Kartana on Ethan's end, and able to pick up a Sacred Sword knockout. So that is pretty important there. Being able to get the knockout on potentially the slower Kartana. I can't recall the speed interaction between these two Kartanas. I don't think we'd seen it before in this match. I'm not sure if it was demonstrated in Swiss, but nevertheless, I'm sure that Drew going for that Sacred Sword, I probably felt confident. If not, he was like, well, this seems like a pretty good idea anyway. Now, unless this Landorus gets an obscene amount of Rock Slide flinches, this should be game 1 going to Drew.
We did see that the Kartana kept on outspeeding. Drew's Kartana kept on outspeeding Ethan's. Okay. And we also saw that that the Kartana took Electro Webs very easily. Ethan's Kartana, and as we just see the Double Flint.
Yeah, the Double Flint. He's going to need a lot more of those, as Rock Slide doesn't even do that much damage to Tapu Koko. Kartana's Leaf Blade, unboosted, will not be able to knock out the Landorus in one shot, but since it has already taken some chip damage, Leaf Blade should do enough, and Rock Slide misses the Kartana, so should speed the game up a little bit. Tapu Koko also manages to land its Nature's Madness. And then
I believe the Kartana is at +1, so
so it should easily knock it out. Yeah. And so the Kartana knocking out the Landorus seals game 1 for Drew. and now Ethan has to consider very seriously, what do I do differently? In Swiss, I was 2-0'd by Drew, and now he beat me in this first game. I think what you said about Charizard being the adjustment, I think is pretty smart. We know that Ethan's Charizard is a triple fire move Charizard, so it does not have Solar Beam notably, which is extremely important versus Rhyperior, because although Overheat will do a sizable chunk, it won't knock it out in one hit, obviously. But with the combination of the Assault Vest Tapu Koko, Salamence naturally resisting Charizard, and the potential of Incineroar and Slowbro, I understand why Ethan is skeptical to bring his Charizard, but I think you're right in identifying that the Kartana was a very big problem.
It just seems to me that Braviary hasn't been doing much. It's always important to have to check an Incineroar when you're using a Charizard, but at the same time, you have to keep in mind that Drew has a Tapu Koko and Rhyperior, two Pokemon that really don't mind any damage coming from Braviary, and they both chunk it very hard. Rhyperior just gets the 1-hit KO, while Koko can just Volt Switch, Nature's Madness, and take basically no damage from his moves. So despite the double Intimidate from Drew, I think you could either not bring Braviary, or if he does, perhaps switch something up, like maybe Tapu Fini for Charizard, or Landorus, maybe even Kartana.
Yeah. I think the Kartana on Ethan's side is also extremely important, because the Tapu Fini on Ethan's side does not have a water move. It's honestly the Kartana that is the best answer I think he's got to Drew's Rhyperior. Otherwise, Rhyperior resists the majority of Ethan's offensive potential. Rhyperior can't do that forever, but the damage trades are going to be significantly in Rhyperior's favor. We see the Braviary one more time as Kartana is led with it against the Rhyperior and Kartana of Drew. So, the Braviary on Ethan's side still is pretty threatened.
Yeah, this is a lead that is definitely favorable for Ethan. He's free to pick up a knockout on Rhyperior. The Kartana is pressured by a double up. And the Kartana, Drew's Kartana cannot really pick up any knockouts. Ethan is fairly free to just Leaf Blade or Tailwind, or even try to gain even more momentum by making a hard prediction.
Yes.
I think the position is heavily in Ethan's favor, especially because Drew cannot really intimidate the Kartana without getting punished with the fight.
As you mentioned, that pressure of Intimidate leads this Rhyperior to opt to protect rather than switching in and intimidate Pokemon. Kartana on Ethan's side goes for a Leaf Blade after taking a Sacred Sword of its own. And as you said, a Tailwind gets set up from Braviary. Could have went for the extra super epic hard read and just knocked out the Kartana straight away, but I think you're right in saying that he wasn't going to do that for free. But still, this is a tough position. Leaf Blade is pressuring the Rhyperior, and if Intimidate is coming in, it's probable that he has at least one of Salamence or Incineroar. He doesn't have to have them, but it's probably he has one of them. And neither of them wants to come in on a boosted Braviary, thanks to that Defiant ability. Rhyperior does end up switching out for the Tapu Koko, so no Intimidate there. But I don't think it's very likely that a Sacred Sword or a Flying type attack is going into that slot, so we'll see what happens. Kartana opts for Protect, so it doesn't have Detect, and I'm really mad that he doesn't have Detect. But a Leaf Blade actually ends up going into the Kartana as the Braviary goes for a Z-Fly, so if that was a... either way, the Protect is either going to reduce the damage of the Z move, or the Tapu Koko switching in on the natural resist is going to ease him in this. But it was a double target into the Kartana. Ethan trying to make a more aggressive read, and instead just gets some damage on the Kartana, but now the Tapu Koko is at least threatening the Braviary and probably threatening the Kartana, even though it is Assault Vest.
Yeah, very interesting turn for now have the luxury to protect his own Kartana without fear. Since he was kind of forced, since Ethan was kind of forced to double up the Kartana to stop it from getting a KO on his own Kartana. it allowed him to reposition himself without being punished, and that was very important there.
Landorus replaces the Kartana on Ethan's side, probably hoping to take an electric move in that slot, as Kartana was also replaced on Drew's side. I'm going into that Rhyperior, likely wanting to take that Brave Bird aimed at that slot. We'll see if that's what he ends up giving it to him. And it is a Brave Bird into the Rhyperior, so Ethan wanting to make sure the Kartana is pressured in that slot. And we'll see what the Tapu Koko goes for. Does it go for Bolt Switch? Bolt Switch? It doesn't go for Bolt Switch. But Nature's Madness misses the Rhyperior, so that was effective as if he side Bolt Switched into Lightning Rod. I just really wanted to make fun of Drew for doing that, but unfortunately he is a wise enough player to know better. And now the Landorus in Ethan's position is pretty good. Earthquake and Brave Bird is still really threatening.
Yeah, the fact that Drew's only ground resist is as Intimidate makes it really easy for Earthquake plus Brave Bird to go unpunished, as we just see the Earthquake going off.
Yeah, we see an Earthquake. I saw this Tapu Koko can survive these Earthquakes, as this one happens to. So this is important because Braviary will likely be able to knock out one of these Pokemon. If this isn't Rhyperior, it might not even knock it out. It's unable to knock it out. That's huge. So the Rhyperior is not only going to be able to survive, but he does Bolt Switch into the Lightning Rod, so I can make fun of him at least one time for this. But the Rhyperior surviving means it's going to get off a huge Z move. One of these Pokemon is going down, and that's probably the best that Drew could hope for in this situation. Yeah, the Z-Rock charging up for a Continental Crush. He jumps in the air, makes big rock, and he says to Landorus, "Goodbye."
Yeah,
and
mished.
Landorus, the Landorus has been mished. Goodbye, Landorus. And this is really important. That Landorus having the Earthquake for Tapu Koko would have been super important to have right now. He would have at least been able to pressure it. But now Tapu Koko is, perhaps I should revise that a little bit. So the Tapu Koko is pressuring, but only if the Rhyperior gets off the field. And now it's not really at all. Because of the Assault Vest and its lack of offense, Volt Switch isn't going to do much damage. And now, despite not having a water type attack, Tapu Fini is still in a good spot here.
That was definitely a very interesting turn. We see Skydrop coming off.
Oh, Skydrop into Tapu Fini. Let's see if... Oh, no, it's just a Tailwind. So if this is a Rock Slide, Ethan could be losing his Braviary for this play. A Rock Wrecker is revealed, so it is based on that, but it misses the Braviary. Oh, that's an important miss. That would have been another knockout that Rhyperior takes at such low health. That would have been such good mileage out of it, but instead the Braviary dodges the attack.
Yeah, that's really... I guess that, Drew intimidated in the back and get rid of Braviary would have allowed him to, bring back the Intimidate.
Yeah. So now the Brave Bird is able to knock out the Rhyperior. Tapu Fini, probably faster than the Tapu Koko in Tailwind, so unable to get off an attack this turn. So Drew does have 3 Pokemon remaining, so he can make something happen, but that second Tailwind, I think, from Ethan is very important. Even if Braviary had fainted, he would have had one final Pokemon to send in. I think that would have been very pressuring. But in this situation, I think it's even better for him. For example, a Brave Bird into the Kartana is, I think, unlikely to knock out the Kartana, but also given Drew's unwillingness to actually switch in his final Pokemon, I think it's safe to say that it is an Intimidate Pokemon. We see the Kartana Protect, as Tapu Koko is likely going to go down to one of these attacks. And Nature's Madness goes into Kartana, so if this is a double target into Kartana, it's not going to knock it out, but he just goes for a Nature's Madness into Kartana and a Brave Bird into the Tapu Koko. So that reduces the amount of recoil that Braviary will take notably, but perhaps Ethan there saying, if you attack me, I don't think you're really going to attack me, but if you do, then you're going to take half your health and you'll be in KO range anyway. So potentially that gave his thought process. Now Drew is forced to send in his final Pokemon, and as you said, it is that Intimidator, this Salamence. Now boosting the Braviary, I imagine Brave Bird will pick up a knockout on this Kartana.
Yeah, that's where not picking up the KO on Braviary was crucial because now the Braviary is intimidated, which means that he got a boost. So big threat coming into the Kartana, which just protected, so it will be very tough for it to get an attack off, or rather stay alive one more turn, because the Brave Bird should just knock it out, and if it doesn't, he can just double up with Fini. Salamence is kind of forced to protect, and even if he doesn't want to, he's just too vulnerable to an Icy Wind that Fini might have. So he's just going to the turn.
Yeah. Mega Salamence Mega Evolves. It should be able to survive one attack from Tapu Fini, but opts to protect instead. So perhaps hoping for a misplay here from Ethan. Or actually, well, he gets a double protect. That is important. I don't think that stalls out the final turn of Tailwind, but it notably does give him an extra lease on life with this Kartana rather than just immediately losing it, giving him more resources. And it actually was the final turn of Tailwind. I can't count. So this kind of turned around.
Yeah, and I mean, it depends on how much Double Edge does to the Braviary. If it just knocks it out from this range, it can just Double Edge plus Leaf Blade and really get away with just using the strongest move on the target most vulnerable to it. Otherwise, you might have to double target one of those Pokemon, and how that can always backfire with a Protect.
Yes. Ethan's Landorus has been knocked out, so he's not able to switch into the Intimidate to bolster his Braviary's defenses to take one Double Edge. So I think you're right in saying that if this Double Edge is able to knock out the Braviary, it might just be over immediately.
Oh.
A critical hit. If it did end up surviving that, then that's unfortunate. But we see a follow-up Leaf Blade into the Tapu Fini, and that will definitely knock that out. And so a fortunate Rock Wrecker miss, followed by a fortunate double protect and a critical hit that may or may not have mattered. Now I think puts Drew in a enormously commanding position to wrap up this game. I think it'll be difficult for Ethan to be able to come back from this one. His own Kartana being weakened, if the Salamence outspeeds naturally, it'll just knock it out immediately, but regardless, the Kartana can only attack one Pokemon at a time, so Double Edge plus Sacred Sword will easily be able to finish up this game for Drew, and it looks like Drew is going to be the Game Cafe Midseason Showdown champion. But Kartana uses Detect, the superior version of Protect, and shows Drew, hey, I've got the better version of Protect here, so even though I lost, I won the Kartana Protect thing. Yes. Ethan probably just messing around with Drew upstairs, I imagine, and Double Edge knocked out the Kartana as Drew, well, you know what? He needs to win this event, he needs to win tomorrow's event, and he needs to win, or not win, but he needs to do pretty well at the PC as well. And he does all those things, and he does well in the online IC.
Then, well, we mean like 30 points.
Yeah, like, he can do this. He can definitely do this. He can get his World's Invite prior to Nationals, and if he's able to pull that off, that'd be incredibly impressive. That was his goal when he came out here, and yeah, I think his team's really cool. I really want to get a chance to play him, so I hope I get the opportunity. If not today, well, we're all using fun teams for the best of one PC, but if we get the opportunity to play tomorrow, this will be, I think, a really good match. I really like the innovation that Drew is using here with Pokemon like Slowbro and Rhyperior, in addition to a really well-balanced core at the back.
If Drew wins he wins the next Midseason and the PC, he'll be 1 point away from the invite, correct?
Yes, he should. Yeah, I think it's 1 or 2, something like that. So
if he does win both,
he'll have to get points from the IC, but
if he does win both, he basically just needs to sign up and play a game. Yeah,
more or less. All right. Well, thank you for coming out and helping commentate, Edu. I don't know, since I know it's going to be late for you, I don't know if you want to stick around and commentate for the Premier Challenge. We're probably going to take a decent break for lunch/dinner for us, and then we'll get the Premier Challenge started up. The Premier Challenge is going to be full of best of one memes, so hopefully I don't lose round 1 so I can put myself on stream or something like that. But
Exciting.
I'm really excited for what I've got today. I'm really excited for what I've got today. And I hope other people have showed up. Recall that last time
You're exciting
Yeah.
too.
we had top 4 last time of a guy. He had Trapinch, Smoochum, Zangoose, and Skrelp on his top 14. Now you can't tell me that that's not the best VGC team you've ever heard of.
For sure it is. I mean, no, the best one is Sheercats, but yeah, that one goes second.
Sheercats is the best VGC team. All right. Well, congratulations to Drew on his mid-season win, and we will be back in probably like an hour to an hour and a half-ish or so. I'll be tweeting things out on Twitter so you can keep up to date, and hopefully you can enjoy the fun. Thank you so much for commentating, Adu, and I will... Yep, let's go ahead and we're good. Okay. Thanks for coming out, guys.
Bye.